Michael Verney of the Irish Independent joins us now on Skype to chat about the game. Michael, I understand we're going live to your room where you've got a pair of iconic boxing gloves.
Yeah, good to be with you, Owen. Yeah, there's a few bits of memorabilia behind me, all right. Yeah, I'm a bit of a memorabilia hoarder when it comes to sports memorabilia.
Well, explain to us the gloves. There's a Mike Tyson pair and a Holyfield pair.
Yeah, no, there's one signed by Evander Holyfield here. I think he's a big Bible lover, and it says, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." And Tyson has signed underneath it, "Fuck yeah, I bit his ear." So contrasting views there.
Michael here is actually the eagle-eyed Michael Quinlivan's here in studio. Michael, he's after spotting some WWE memorabilia over your right shoulder as well.
Oh God, yeah, there's a fair bit of it here. Wrestling figures, wrestling belts, everything. Yeah. I'm all inclusive when it comes to sports. Nothing left out.
We should do actually a piece on all the memorabilia there. We could spend hours chatting about all the stuff there. There's some unbelievable stuff there, but we do want to chat about Galway-Kilkenny yesterday, because that was an unbelievable event in itself, Michael. And I wonder, have we just got another preview of this year's All-Ireland final?
I think we have, Owen, to be honest with you. Yeah, just for me, I think the big thing yesterday, and I suppose it was a noticeable thing the first day in the drawn match as well, is the difference in physicality between the Leinster matches. Well, noticeably the drawn match and the replay, maybe not some of the round robin games, but the difference between that physicality and any of the games that we saw in Munster is probably a lot more ball playing going on in Munster, a lot less physicality. I wonder how Limerick will cope with Kilkenny's physicality this weekend. And on that as well, I think I do fancy Kilkenny to get over that hurdle, and I wonder how Cork will cope with that as well, because they won't have come up against anything like that. And I think it's becoming increasingly clear probably that we are seeing the best two teams in the country, albeit I think Galway are a couple of steps ahead of Kilkenny at the moment. But yeah, it would be mad to think that Galway, if they were to do a back-to-back, there's a possibility that they could have to beat Kilkenny 3 times along the way, and that would surely make up for what people are saying, maybe that they won an All-Ireland last year without beating Kilkenny. To beat them 3 times in 1 year would just be phenomenal, really.
Yeah, I think they've even got that monkey off their back after yesterday, really, haven't they? Especially the nature of the comeback. Beating them twice in 1 year is probably good enough if they don't meet again later in the summer.
Yeah, I think the nature of the win yesterday would have been massively pleasing. Like, they started like a house on fire. That's probably the best 20 minutes of hurling we've seen from any team this year. But the fact that Kilkenny came back into the game, were within a point of them. Like, if Galway had won by 10 or 12 pulling up and just kept that advantage the whole way through, that wouldn't have been as satisfying for Micheál Donoghue as the fact that everything was thrown at them again. Questions were asked, just like they were asked in the 2016 Leinster final, but they answered them all yesterday. I think that the big thing was, in the drawn game, Galway scored 18 points, which was easily the lowest tally under Micheál Donoghue's reign. I think his average is 26.8 points in his 15 championship games. They absolutely blew that out of the water yesterday. It was 29 scores to 18, and the array of attacking options that they have. You know, Cathal Mannion, 6 points yesterday. Conor Whelan 4. Johnny Glynn, despite the fact that maybe some people think he shouldn't be playing because he's wearing two gloves in his hands to protect his fingers, which I think is mad. He could wear 3 of them after yesterday. Like, the attacking options that they have, and to leave Conor Cooney on the line, I thought that was a big move, even dropping him yesterday, but it paid off. Johnny Glynn was the focal point of their attack, and they just have so many options. And David Burke and Johnny Cohen, after being quiet the first day, like, geez, I've never seen 2 midfielders hit as much ball as they hit in the first 25 minutes. Yeah,
it was unbelievable stuff. Would you put that down to the main reason for the turnaround from day one was the added influence of the midfielders on the ball?
Yeah, they were quite deep again yesterday in the half-back line as well, and you could just noticeable with David Burke, every time he got the ball, there was no time taken on the ball. It was a clear tactic that the second they get the ball, just get it inside. We have big powerful lads inside in the full forward line, just get it in as fast as we can to them. And I think it was just a change in attitude, really. They were the ones that were hounding all over the field yesterday, where it was probably Kilkenny the week before. And I think it's actually worked out perfectly for Galway. They were probably, unbeknownst to themselves, probably came in a little bit complacent the first day. They've gotten kind of the wake-up call that they needed. And like, some of the hurling yesterday was brilliant. And just to go back to Cathal Mannion again, there was a point he got there when the game was really in the melting pot. He picked up the ball around his own 65, just kind of nonchalantly threw a shoulder to his left and just threw it over from 70 or 80 yards. And there's not too many players and not too many teams to have guys that can do that, especially when the game is in the pressure cooker. It was a massive win for Galway, and they earn a little break now as well, and probably going to be facing Clare or Wexford more than likely in a semi-final, and they're going to be very hard beaten in that.
Just to go back to the Babs Keating and the gloves story, here's a tweet from Darth Cody, the Brian Cody parody account on Twitter, on Johnny Glynn wearing 2 gloves, Babs Keating obviously in the Sun on Sunday. It's unforgivable that the biggest and strongest fella on the pitch, 6 foot 4 inches and nearly 16 stone, had to wear them on both hands. If I was Donahue giving him a jersey, I'd have a serious chat about it first, which hopefully might have been a parody from Babs himself. It's right up there in terms of one of the most unusual criticisms of a team. It's hardly kind of something that would create some sort of siege mentality, but I'm sure if Johnny Glynn had read that beforehand, he'd be thinking to himself, screw you, I'm going to prove to you why I deserve to be in this team and why I deserve to wear as many gloves as I like.
Yeah, it's one of the weirdest things I've ever seen written, to be honest with you. I think really, like, and in fairness, like, Johnny Glynn was wearing 2 gloves, but Babs played a game with no boots on his feet at one stage. So I don't think you can have too many complaints. Like, when you're 6'5" and your main game is winning ball in the air, like, and God only knows how many broken fingers Johnny Glynn has had down through the years, and even DJ wore 2 ash guards back in the day as well. Such was his kind of aerial ability, and lads would be pulling hard in the air. Like, I just think it was one of the most outlandish and crazy kind of statements. If ever there was column inches been filled by something nonsensical, I think that's a prime example of it.
I've got a tip man beside me here who's getting very offended by his assault on his county man. One last thing, just on Kilkenny, and just like we'll get to the kind of the quick turnaround in a moment, but the whole Padraig Walsh conundrum was thrown up again last night by Donal O'Grady on the Sunday game. Now, Derek McGrath disagreed with him, but he made the point that he needs to be brought back out to pitch, that it is a story as old as time now at this point. Padraig Walsh are his talents best utilised in the full back line for Kilkenny. What do you think? Do you think that debate should be brought back up right now, or should Kilkenny just stick to the plan and go ahead, and because they've got enough to beat Limerick next weekend?
Yeah, I wouldn't have necessarily disagreed with what Donal O'Grady said yesterday. I think it probably was a bit OTT based on 4 or 5 maybe inspirational catches and coming out with ball. I just don't think he's a natural fullback. I don't think he's comfortable there. I think he wants to attack every chance he gets. If he's playing wing back, his strongest area is probably in the air. If he's playing wing back, guaranteed there's going to be at least 6 or 7 puckouts coming down his way, so he will get a chance to show his aerial ability throughout a game. He just doesn't look comfortable there to me. I think like he was under pressure with Conor Cooney down in Salt Hill. He was under pressure in some earlier games as well with Jason Ford in the league as well. I think possibly they ended up with Robert Lennon in full back yesterday, who would probably be a bit more physically imposing than Pádraig, and maybe that might be a tactic that they might look at if they do play Galway again. Pádraig just has so much to offer as a half-back, particularly structurally and holding kind of shape. Kilkenny's half-backs probably got lost a bit yesterday and were kind of left in no man's land a bit. I don't think when you have an experienced head like that would happen, and I think that he would drive forward, and chances are he's probably going to provide a point or two maybe in the style that Aidan Hart did for Galway. So there's, when you're maybe attacking and firing as well, it's always nice to have a guy that can put a ball over from 100 yards as well, and he's kind of restricted from doing that at full-back. But I find it hard to believe that Cody would change mid-season. This is obviously something that he has planned for throughout the year. He's always very conscious of getting his spine set in place. He has his 3 and 6 in place at the moment. I don't think he'll panic or make a change based on, maybe half an hour yesterday, even in the first 20 minutes against Johnny Glynn. But I think everyone would like to see Pádraig at wing back just because we know what he can do. He's Tommy Mark II, essentially.
Yeah. Michael Verney of the Irish Independent, thanks a million for that this morning.
Thanks a million. Cheers, lads.